yeah, we put the URL right up there, so anybody wants to virally spread it to their friend.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so
17,000 people are going to be like, fucking idiot.
Let's start here with 40 people saying fucking idiot.
We're good?
Yeah, go.
We're on, you're sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so this session is about what me and Chris Brogan call trust economies. We put this up as a last-minute thing based on a blog post that Chris put up on his blog about a week or so ago, where basically it was like, could you please shut up about monetizing your podcast? Because everybody is always, no matter what podcast they go to, they're always talking about monetizing their podcast. How can I get a sponsor on my podcast? How can I, get people to click on my ads or whatever? And me and Chris and a number of other people in this room are people that have been podcasting for a while that are able to profit off of it, but not at all in the ways that everybody is always talking about. And for us, that came down to a matter of building relationships, being able, both on and offline, making those relationships count, and effectively developing trust. And by developing trust, then you can find a way to rock it. A good example of this, just me and Chris, but there are a number of other people already at this conference. You may have already met a few of them. But Chris, the last 2 jobs that you got, you basically were like, what's up? You didn't say anything. You weren't like, here's a CV, here, please hire me, or please go to a big, gigantic company and be like, hi, can you please sponsor my show? You were just like, I'm fucking Chris Brogan. You know what I mean?
Then I pulled my pants down and it was all seen.
And it was Apple and they were like, that's it, yeah. And the same thing happened with me. The last past year or a year and a half, I have never had to ask for a job. And it's all because of podcasting. Everybody has always come to me and be like, Julien, and this is not to kind of show off, it's just to say that it's possible for 2 idiots up here, that it's possible for the rest of you and the people upstairs as well. So I guess we wanted to talk about how to do that. So I'm going to let Chris go.
Oh dear. So yeah, working off of notes is bad for me. I talked about the difference between scarcity and abundance, and Mr. Penn, as always, has optimized my thoughts on this because he thinks about what I say and I just talk. So the idea is that there are ways to make money. In the TV world, if you like 24, you can watch that on Fox. Period. Have a nice day. The reason is that they try to believe that in the TV world, if you are driven to that one channel and X million people will view this, then people who have something they want to say, they can take advantage of the scarcity of where that show is to make money off that show. Ergo, advertising. So if you want to read about a cool toilet brush, you can get it on 24. Everyone in the room doesn't know the toilet brush. But 24, you can make money off that. So a scarcity to make money is one way to make money. The way not to make money is in abundance, and the idea of abundance is radio stations. If I'm Uncle Seth, if I'm the Counting Crows, if I'm Great Big C, I want more radio stations to play me because I make my money off a different portion of the food chain. I make my money off more people knowing about me, and where I make my money there is the live experience. I want you to come to my concert, or I want you to buy X number of records and I'll get 40 cents a record or whatever the industry is willing to pay you now. But there's other ways to do that as well. You can do the free hugs video and get 11 million downloads and get booked all over the planet just because of that one song. As far as I know, dudes have one song, but they probably have more. But those guys got it through free, abundant, make it known, and find the people. I love seeing nodding heads in the audience, especially some of my favorite people.
The thing is that basically we have a number of people from mostly old media methods that have been saying things to us like, well, okay, you have to, I believe somebody had a discussion, we were having a discussion yesterday upstairs, and it was like, you're providing a value for the people that you're interviewing on your podcast, for a children's story podcast. And so basically what ended up happening is they were like, well, you understand you're providing a value to these authors, and they're going to be selling more books, and you're not profiting off of that. You're giving it away all for free. Why are you giving it away for free? And those of us that have kind of like gone through the, oh my God, why am I giving away everything for free section of podcasting, that we've been doing for months and months and years have come to another end of the spectrum where there is so much stuff that has been put out for free that we've developed a network of people that sometimes we know and sometimes we don't even know, that love us to death, that are interested in what we do no matter what it is, and that will continue to be interested in, you know, us as people, what it is we come out with in the future. And just like real life networks, I hate the term networking because it feels so fake to me and it always felt false, but real relationships that are able to grow faster and really with much more intimacy than ever before, allowing us far more access to resources and to people than we've ever had. The reason that that Chris didn't have to, you know, go out and like schlep CDs or sell somebody on, you know, promote or sponsorship for his podcast is because he was like, I just put on the best, at the time, it's like the best free conference ever, along with Chris Bannon and some other people. And then people were so impressed with him and the abilities, I mean, basically just like how cool Chris is, that they're just like, well, this is obviously the guy. And you want to make yourself that person. You want to put yourself at the center of a network of trust. And we feel that once you do that, and you can do that in a number of ways. If you don't want to do it the same way I do, you don't want to do it the same way that Chris does, but once you have successfully done it, you'll be happy that you didn't, you know, have to go and sell ads for sponsorship for your podcast.
This part of the conversation is brought to you by Excel Gum, the new flavor. Night Chill by Excel Gum. It's basically, as near as I can tell, it tastes like mint. And
it's delicious.
Mr. Penn said they ran out of. The point of that is, how legitimate could that be? But on the other side of it, here's a cool little branding story. You know, free and otherwise. I mean, by the way, you're not all going to feed your families on your podcast. You're going to feed your families on the opportunities that your podcast brings you. Steve Garfield is Nokia's bitch. And he, you know, he's all full disclosure and whatever, but Nokia sent him an N93 and then an N95. He goes out and makes video shows with it, and it's awesome. If you guys are contemplating buying a Nokia M product, it is super awesome, and I'm not kidding to say that. Andy Carpin, this other blogger, goes, "Wow, how do I get a Nokia phone from these guys? Because that's so cool. I'm so jealous of Steve Garfield. I'm going to mug him." Nokia, who searched for their name, like I said in the last session, goes, "Whoa." And they give Andy Carpin a phone too, and so now he's out there promoting, right? If you love something and it's part of your show and that person wants to give you one, as long as you insanely disclose it, then you just got another cool value. But there's a gentleman in the back corner, another Montrealer, blogging heavily fast, Mitch Joel.
I figure so.
Who was on Brian Person's show, Newcom Road, which is the first time I actually became aware of you. So that is another one of those community things where you get to know each other and get on each other's shows, right? And Mitch said, I don't hire somebody who, I want to hire somebody who has a blog. I don't hire anyone who doesn't have a blog, or something like that, such that it was much more important to have the blog than the CV. Because if you think about one of those, or a resume for the 40 US people, so what's those 2 pages really going to mean? You're going to put that stupid objective at the front that doesn't mean jack shit, and you're going to put like those, you know, places you've been, which doesn't mean jack shit, and no one's going to know what you're like to work with. But it's pretty hard to hide that you're a dumbass or an idiot on your blog, right? Mitch, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, this whole notion is, if you're not passionate and you're not sort of displaying out there authenticity, transparency, and truth, you could never work in our type of environment anyways. So understanding technology, being ahead of the curve is so interesting. When we talk about the trusted economy, if you're putting it out there as a blogger, you know, I know you're not bullshit.
Right.
You know, you can't be. And that creates an immediate link. I'm sure everybody who feels it, just being around these types of people, it's like you're almost intimate because you know if you're putting it out there, you wouldn't do anything you wouldn't put up on YouTube. And it's very, very powerful to the sort of foundation of the trusted economy.
Never before has there been the ability to schmooze with presence and marketing companies, with you know, people that own PR firms that are among the largest in Canada, and all these different groups of people, and we all get here together. We're like, yo, what's up? Let's get drunk. You know what I mean? And all of you, yeah, it's funny, man. But we should all be treasuring this opportunity because we look at these people and they're normally out of our league, quote unquote. When in fact, when you start treating each other like real people, and it's again an issue of just putting stuff out there for free. It's going, yeah, listen, I'm giving you goodwill. I'm giving it out. I'm radiating goodwill. Chris radiates goodwill.
And I smell a little.
It smells sometimes, but anyway. So
It's the full sensory experience.
right, yeah.
Is anyone here a would-be author? Like, did you ever do the I'm going to write a novel and then you didn't quite get it done or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone ever submit their work? Okay, yeah. And if you're successful, then this will blow my story, so just lie for me, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because you seem very successful.
being
Extremely successful. But I sent out a lot of submissions to a lot of places, and I occasionally get a really nice letter back, but more often than not, because I'm not a really great author because I have OCD. Harlequin Romance is in the building today. The Harlequin Publication Company is in the building. Say what you will, but you know why they came here? Because they want your expertise. Harlequin is the most vast publishing empire of that kind of product, of a niche genre, and they make gajillions of dollars. They're absolutely impenetrable to a would-be new author. But they're here looking for people to help them with the most basic thing in the world. How do I edit Audacity or whatever, right? Like if I make these sound files, what do? Do you think there's someone here who could help us with that? Like we'd like to pay some people. So I'll hook you up with them because they're in Rome in the building and I've got their cards. You want to talk trust economy? Harlequin came to us. So press people come here from traditional mainstream press to find out what's going on in the new world, and they start looking for how they can get more bloggers and podcasters into their realm. One of the best things I saw a video on the net last September was Brian Conley from Alive in Baghdad standing up to tell CNN, "You're full of shit." And CNN like, "Oh, why?" And then also, but on the same token, the Washington Post, who has this awesome website with a really good video blogging presence, kind of got it right, so Brian said nice things about them. But Brian is this little Irish guy who looks like he's Middle Eastern from Revere, Mass. Yeah, he looks like Che Guevara, that's a good one. From Revere, Mass, who got himself all the way over to Jordan and then snuck into Baghdad with a couple of old video cameras and gave them to taxi cab drivers and stuff like that to shoot a show called Alive in Baghdad. And they show the news from people in the audience perspective. It's people normally on the street kind of stuff. And Brian gets a lot of press, so I hate pimping him because he's popular. But the notion behind that, again, Brian is not Anderson Cooper from CNN and 19 SUVs and armor-plated underpants. Brian is a guy who we hang out with and who doesn't ever have cab money because he gives everything he has to this cause. He's out in Mexico now messing around down there, but same deal, Alive in Mexico, So
I mean, the way that I see it, and on a practical level, I mean, we've talked about some of the theory here, and it was like, okay, it seems all very well and good, but how do you do things like this? I think one of the first things that I've found that is that you have to kind of surrender away the concept of control. You have to surrender away the concept of, you have to give faith in people. Put yourself out there, always be out there with people, be genuine with them. Stop trying to pass around the business cards between each other without wanting to create relationships before those business cards, because business cards mean nothing without relationships. I think everybody that is in sort of a new media framework is realizing that whenever somebody does that to them, to be like, why do I want your stupid business card? I have 50 business cards at home, they sit in a pile, I don't need this collection. What I need people. And we all need people, and this is the best part about it, is that this, just in podcasting, because this is not just an issue of podcasting, it's an issue of several different kind of new media communities, but just in terms of podcasting, the first people that are able to successfully do this are not that powerful. But the more people are able to do it, the more the power of the network grows. Now, I've passed along contracts that were not particular of interest to me to a number of other people. Some of them are in this room, you know what I mean? That were just like, well, this is not really my thing, but I have a group of people, and I have confidence in them. I put it out there, I give it to them, trust comes back to me, etc. Once you've developed an attitude where it's just like, I want to give, I want to give, I want to give, you're on the right track. And you'll see that this brings you to a point where where people will be super happy. You know, if your people are buying a beer, you're on the right track. If people are talking about you or linking to you on the internet, you're on the right track. This is another thing, is the fact that in a way than never before, because of the fact that we have the internet, people are putting their trust relationships down on paper, on the web, and those last forever. I may trust Bob now, but if Bob screws me over 6 months, I'll give you an example. I love you. If Bob screws me over 6 months from now.
Suppose it was YouTube.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
YouTube. 500 views by now. If Bob screws me over 6 months from now, I'll be like, okay, well, the relationship is broken. But here, when people put their trust in you, they put down a link on the internet that stays there forever. And so you go, I have developed this trust. And at the same time, this should give you a certain responsibility as well. You'd be like, these people have they've effectively signed on putting their relationship on the line with you and on paper with you. So you should have a certain accountability to them because of that.
Just a thought, I mean, Maureen is, especially with your red jacket, is drawing my attention because I know you said yesterday that you're a younger woman launching into the space of thinking about the notion of how does one really fundamentally cash at the end of the day. There is one person in this room who brought in lots of cash for his business, over 20 million?
20 million in loan volume.
20 million in loan volume. And then, certainly some portion of that to his pocket by way of making a trust relationship out of the financial aid industry. If you are talking or doing a video show or something, if you need to make a business, I guess is where I'm going. Because some people like to do this for love. My video blog is nothing but just for love. It's the stupidest show, and I love it every day I watch it. I'll show you because I've been bitching about it. But if you need to make money, to me the magical thing you can do is become the person in your industry who's the most internet friendly, and you make it so that you are oh, that's so funny. You make it so that you are the person that people would want to talk to about such and such a topic. And Michael Gohagan, who's kind of a way back in the day audio podcaster who wrote the book Podcast Solutions. Thank you. With
class.
Oh yeah. He has this whole thing about, he was doing a podcast called Real Reviews, and it was about movies and stuff like that. He's a big movie geek, and it was just for his own entertainment. He just loves movies and loves to do reviews of them. One day, Disney calls him, because they just sort of know that he's a podcaster. And they call him and they're like, hey, Mike, listen, can you get us a spec on what it would take to do the Disneyland 50th anniversary podcast? And he's like, yeah, sure. And they're like, can you get it by 9? And he looks, it's like 8:21. Yeah, no problem. Because Mike's a serial entrepreneur, and there's no in Michael Gohagan. And so he writes up a proposal of what it's going to take. And I don't know what he charged, but I imagine that he had a 40-minute window to write it. It was good cash, right? But he gets suddenly dumped into the Disneyland experience and goes to this red carpet event on like his second audio podcast and meets like 55 celebrities in a row. He got the money, he got the celebrities that he's a big fan of because he's a movie freak. And Michael Gohagan's making a living off of what he did through podcasting. He runs Gigabox, so you know what I mean? If you are the authority on whatever, there's authorities on, his favorite example is that car wash place. There's a car detailing place in California that started putting out an audio podcast to the people that were detailing for them because there's a high turnover in the business. Well, it turned out that at first competition was, listening in, and people were going, "Oh, he's giving away his secrets to the competition." It turned out people started driving I got to give you metrics here, 60 kilometers or more out of their way to go to this car detailing place because they just knew him from this audio presence that they had. So suddenly he was the authority.
It still comes back to trust, though. There have been in my competitive space, it's a $137 billion industry. There have been 12 other financial aid podcasts in the 2 years that I have been doing this. They have all lasted for 6 episodes or less because every single episode has been a 20-minute advertisement. There's been no value to them. They've not given anything away. They just said, hey, buy our stuff, take out our loans. Just boring to listen to. You just got to give a constant think about all the time, what can you give your audience in this episode?
Yeah.
I'm planning out episode 478 on the way home, which is Monday's episode. What can I give so that my audience has a reason to listen to it?
And you have to consistently be thinking this.
What can you give away?
Sorry, I want to add to the Michael Gohagan thing, because Michael Gohagan is an incredibly dynamic guy. He also does great radio, which is a wine podcast where a group of guys sit around with a case of wine and they drink and they talk about the wine. And a lot of their show, well, it's been a long time since I listened to it, but there'll be episodes where, clearly the wine is getting to them. And the wine industry is sending them cases of wine.
Yeah, right. And I mean, we talk about Michael Gohagan, the fact that Disney called him, but that didn't happen overnight either. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, of course, these are things that happen to these people because he became the person. Somebody was like, oh my God, we have to deal with this Disney thing. What are we going to do? And somebody was like, well, Michael Gohagan, I think he's the guy, and they gave him a call because of that. Become that person in your mind, in the minds of your listeners, become that person in the minds of your community. And there are so many different things, you know what I mean? What Chris is different, does different than what I do, is different what Chris Penn does, different from what Mark Blevis and Bob Diaz do. All these people are filling up different things, and I know if I need anything, I'm like, I can count on those people. I know it's 100%. And it's not an issue of money, it's an issue of relationships. And when we come down to it, money is almost sort of an artificial means of displaying relationships in a physical format. Why let's just take them all away. Right? It's Virgil first.
Just to tie on to that, because it's not a question, but somebody once said recently, I read it interesting, and it said money is just a form of communication.
Yes.
So when you look at it like this, people give you more money based off how much trust they have for you, how much value they see in the relationship.
Absolutely.
And if you look at it that way, it's very democratized with what these guys are saying. It's very powerful.
Communicate with me, people.
Yeah. He's open to discuss.
Another piece of gum, Chris.
Oh yeah, please. This is Excel gum. Excel gum. This is delicious.
And you know what? Once this video hits the net as a podcast and is up there permanently, Excel Gum will be contacted.
Once that video hits the net.
We got it. It's already hit the net.
Well, one thing I just, not to interject, but add another point, is in the business world, where you're getting paid money for a job, the trust relationship there is you go to a job and you will get paid for it, and you will do your job because you're being paid for it. But in a trust relationship, if you don't give stuff away for free, if you don't share your stuff for free, when the time comes that you want to get paid for, or you will get paid for it, if they don't know what you do, if they haven't already built up that expectation that you will perform X task and create X product because you gave it away for free, they digested it for free, and they believe in it as the right product or tool or fit for their needs, when they come to you for money, haven't given it away for free, you won't be that person. They'll move to the person that they've already done that.
That's right.
Talk money about band promotion for a minute here. What do you think costs more money? For a record label to spend a lot of money trying to rent you onto a new band that you've never heard of, and so there's no trust relationship there? Or the Free Hugs guys with 11 million downloads for free because it's YouTube, right? I mean, how brilliant would that be? There's trust right there in a box. I had one other I wanted to say though. Oh yeah, we should totally not miss talking about Bum Rush the Charts because I missed it from Fort. We can talk about the power of new social media.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good segue into what I was thinking about, which is that, I mean, I'm not sure about this abundance and scarcity model, because when you look at someone like Britney Spears, a blockbuster model in film, that's very much an abundance model also. I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing Britney Spears, head shave this week,
Right.
That's very much, but the difference is they're paying millions of dollars to market that, whereas we're getting $1 million marketing budget for nothing.
Right.
Is the difference.
Linda?
Whitney and Linda.
I was just going to say, I don't have the link, but the Jonathan Colton, Dresden Dolls metaphor that he put up on his link, Dave Slusher had it on Evil Genius Chronicles. The whole thing about how the bands, the signed bands, are making less than Jonathan Colton is by doing everything on the way. And giving things away.
While we're along this line at the same time, more listeners does not mean better trust relationships. Intensity with the listeners in question, whether there be 5, whether there be 5 million, is far more relevant. You know what I mean? And I mean, I personally, in a situation, I've thought about it before, and I'm like, well, you know, I've been doing this for a while, so on and so forth. And I feel like a lot of the people that listen to my show are podcasters. And I mean, well, like, you know, there are 5 million of them, like, I don't know, whatever other show, like Ricky Gervais or something. They'd be like, but that's not the people I want to talk to. I want to talk to my people. Yeah, they're my people. You know what I mean?
Peeps, as we say in the small marshmallow burden. I do want to say one other thing. This is a story that I have to use euphemisms and stuff for because it's being podcast everywhere. But I very recently had to write a letter to fire one of the largest PR firms in the world. Biggest name of PR firm, so it's not how I'll say it out loud. Because our relationship with them wasn't so great. We had met them, we tried to get in going fast, and it was quite a lot of money to do this work with them, but they could not work at the speed of the internet. And there was absolutely no trust experience. We had nothing. We walked in, we signed a check, and we just started trying to make that happen, and nothing. So who did I fall back on? This guy in Texas, at a third or less of the cost of said largest internet PR company in the world. PR company in the world, not internet. We're in the top 3. Because I knew this guy and had done work with him before, and that's how it went. And he's a podcaster, a blogger, and video blogger, and he's on Twitter. So I just felt like he was in our space. This isn't my gig, so do you want to talk just a little bit about Bum Rush for that?
Oh, well, whatever. I mean, it's just, it's a situation where you can, on a mass scale, use trust that you have with people. This is a project that a guy, Marshall Nemkov, that I know, and that Chris Pennitz is working with a lot. It's just to be able to take a mass level of sort of power and trust that we have, that we've gained, and to use that sort of collectively. This is only one example, but to be able to do something like this to sort of even make an impact is something that we were able to do, but we are able to do now that we were not able to do before. And again, about the power of the network, which is what it goes back to, the amount of power you have now may be good because you have a great number of listeners, you've connected with a number of people today, but continue to open up, continue to develop those relationships and to intensify the relationships that you have, get new ones, always offer yourself up, always be available, build a community around your people, and you will see, a year from now, you will be blown away by what has happened. I know I am, compared to 12 months ago. I'm sure you are too. Chris Penn, other people all around the room that are like, you know, I can't believe that I've been in this city. I can't believe I'm here. Who did that right now in their career? I can't believe I've gotten here. Yeah?
Who wishes they had their hand up right now?
Just a really interesting story. One of our friends, Julie and I, actually sat down in Montreal. We had a geek dinner. This guy, Andy Nolman. Andy Nolman is the founder of the Just for Laughs Festival worldwide. He just sold his cellular wireless mobile content company for $150 million. And he sat at dinner and he said to us, he started blogging about 5 months ago, he said never in all of his years in technology has he ever felt more connected or more trusting of people than the people he's met through blogging, just through simply blogging. People he's never met. It was a very powerful.
This guy can actually buy trust. He's figured out a way, but I mean, like, no, he
There's no value in
with
it.
blogging. It's just he's connected with people, and that's because you can't buy that.
Right.
And again, and this is the thing: you cannot buy this. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. It doesn't matter how viral your people are. You cannot do this.
Virgil said it yesterday. I think it was Virgil, sorry, or it might have been Mark, I forget. Somebody said yesterday, there's those really cool viral videos that you watch and you're like, that is so amazing. And then you find out it's somebody behind it that spent the money and you're like, you felt lied to. And of course the negative happens, right?
Sure. Which, if it's really viral, you're going to find out. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, I just lost.
They're ready to trust, right?
Well, and Julian had a really good point on that. It's not a matter of money, it's a matter of time. You give them your time, and you cannot buy time, you cannot get time back. So in the case of the Bridezilla thing, not only is there a trust element in this, but you've also given up whatever the video was 5 or 6 minutes long. You've given them your 5 or 6 minutes. That 5 or 6 minutes is gone.
Yeah.
And when you get stung like that you remember that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, listen to this. I'm struck by an analog between the podcasting world and another area that I'm involved in a lot. I think it's sort of to kill any skepticism I might have towards the trust economy. This is exactly what's happening in the open software world, where companies and individuals give away what previously would have been considered the family jewels. Here's my source code. They're giving it away yet they're making billions of dollars. None of these guys are eating craft dinner for supper unless they happen to like it.
Right.
And again, it's because you're bringing the whole community, the hive mind, as part of the value add that you can bring to the situation or the job opportunity. I see the same thing happening here. So it does work.
Yeah.
It is working today.
Very, very true. And it can be emulated pretty much in wherever you happen to be. You may not be in podcasting, you may be in something else, but I mean, it's just a matter of being that person. Being that person people think about and being trustworthy.
Do you go to specialty stores at all? Like, do you ever go to a certain fish market or a certain butcher over like the local grocery store because you kind of had a better experience with them and it might cost a little more? That's kind of it relates to that sort of thing. But you're totally right about open source being analogous to this.
It's like back in the 50s, or even when I was growing up, there were still a couple stores we could go to and sign to go pick up the stuff your mom sent you down for.
Yeah.
And there's this whole sense of knowing the banker, and when you get business done, you can shake our hand. And it's the same sort of stuff. You know, if you build a trust relationship, you can get a lot of business done very quickly, or get things done like everybody going and saving the CC. You know, everybody's going to be there for you and help you out when you need it. Chris Penn had a great thing where he was raising money for a leukemia walk. And, you know, he just put something out in all of his friends' house. So, I mean, you can really do a lot of good in a short period of time.
Just to use another example is that's probably tired in the media is the flash mob. When the flash mob first came out, people thought it was a novel idea and participated in it, and still, like now, there's a pillow fight that happens every year, like April Square, or the weird little events that happen around the city or on the internet that are big spectacles. That's purely built on trust, and that's partially part of our new economy, part of the ability to connect with phones and everything. But the other part is that people are actually reaching out and saying, hey, this is something that's cool, and I want to participate in it, and I believe in it, not in a passionate, like, I'll go to the wall for it, but I believe in it, and it works in line with what I'm already doing for fun. And they join in, and they join in happily, they give their time happily.
Yeah,
and that's all the trust.
Exactly. And to the point, the fact of the matter is that they're putting out this trust to you, and you're taking advantage of that, or rather, you're using that and you're keeping it. You know, if you create an event like that. But if it does happen that something is taken advantage of, and there's a company behind it, or there's some sort of political reason and you didn't know, or whatever, that's gone. You know what I mean? And that's it. You can't.
I suspect there's food in another part of this building at this point. And I love you all, Adley, and I trust you now. Please go away.